Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Yo on the Go Leadership Moments. Today, I have a special guest that's going to share with us how to upgrade all the vehicles in our lives. His name is John Treichler. He's the CTO of Applied Signal Technology. It's a company that's focused on the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. This really remote sensing expertise. And John, it's really, really great to have you here. You're also an IEEE 2021 Rising Stars conference featured speaker, and we're really looking forward to hearing about your experience and also to hear what you have to share to the next generation. So, John, you've been having a very long experience in this sector. Technology in the ISR section is one of the most detailed, one of the most focused set of technologies for the security of the world. And I'm curious, as CTO, how do you balance that strength of getting that fidelity, high fidelity information, and also making it extremely usable and available for your users?
Well, there's really two or three key things, and I'll go with the big two. Number one is that you really need to hire the very, very best people you can, which in our case are engineers, and treat them the very best you can so that together as a team you build the very best product. The other side of that is you need to work closely with your customer, who in our case is mostly the US government, to figure out really what they need and make sure that what you're building isn't just your engineer idea, something cool, but something that really, really meets their need and the way they want to use it.
So, in terms of the way the business works, you're listening to your customer, you're understanding their needs, but you're also working with constraints, right? They may have the need for such really high detailed information that may be physically impossible or technically unfeasible. How do you balance that with what's possible, and how do you bridge that gap?
Well, sometimes the gap is never bridged because a customer may want something that's so fantastically uh, uh, hard, I'll just say hard, that it's really not doable. And so what you have to do is work with that customer over the years to create a relationship of trust where they really understand that you are really smart about this and you're going to bring everything to the table that could possibly be done. And then you're going to have a discussion. And then our experience is when you sit down and compare what they want versus what you know can be done, then you can often find a way, something you can do that gets them closer to where they need to be, even if it isn't perfect. And
Mm.
so it's not possible just to throw a requirement over the fence to you and you come back with the perfect answer for no money and no time. It's a matter of sitting down and figuring out what is doable and what can actually get them as close to their objective as what they need, and an important consideration within the amount of money they have to spend on it, because they're not made out of money, and it costs us the money to actually build what they want. So it's working together. The key to everything is working together within your own team, within the customers, in order to try to get the best that can be the best can be attained.
That's really insightful. So it seems as if there's really you're realistic, right, to the customer when they ask for something that may be not feasible in this day and age, but you're also willing to work with them and to sit down, and it's really that conversation that enables the football to move forward, right? It may not be an entire 10 yards, but it could be a couple inches that gets them closer to that. And I hear that I see that that's one of those aspects of a business that's really important, that relationship and the willingness to be frank, but also to be able to work together as a company and as an entity. I think that's something that we all should really value, is to have that communication and to be focused on the greater objectives of the customer. I'm kind of curious, as you work through this time, and you've had a very nice long storied career in the industry. There are times of leadership in which you don't have a title of CTO. And I'm curious, was there a time in your recent history that you had to assume a leadership position without having the title of a leader, and how were you able to accomplish what you needed to get done?
Yes, there's actually been several in my career, not and not just recently. But I think the key to all those, and I keep going back to the same theme, which is communication and building trust and respect. One of the lovely things about being an engineer is you get to work with other engineers who are usually pretty thoughtful and pretty realistic and have a clear idea of what they can do, what the team can do. And when you're put together, it's not exactly that it's self-organizing, but most people are very eager to do the part that they can do the best. And after talking about it, working through what the objectives are of the project, it turns out that some people want to go into the corner and write code because they're really good at that. Some people really want to put the stuff together out on the workbench and do that integration and test. Some people are willing to deal with management and go work the money and all that kind of thing. And there's been a number of times in my career where we effectively self-organized, and I ended up as the person who you would sort of call the leader, but not because I was ordering people around, but because the self-arrangement of the staff felt like that was a good thing for me to do, while other people did the things they were great at doing. And come back a few years later, you find out one of them now has the confidence and the breadth of knowledge that they would they would rise up as the leader in a similar group as they as I say as they gain the experience and find the opportunity to do it.
It's actually, that's a very interesting perspective. It reminds me of the original Roman leader, right? They kind of the Greek system picked a leader out of the farm to lead the group. They were the best at that point, but then they stepped down. And it sounds like that egalitarian sort of method has worked very well in your experience in life, to be able to take on and pick up whatever is necessary. I think that's really that sounds like a really good team. To be able to be willing to do whatever's necessary and strengthen, focus on their own strengths. I'm curious, throughout that experience, and you've seen that there's development of each of your coworkers to take on leadership positions. How do you cultivate a culture? How do you cultivate a group to be able to do that in a self-organizing manner?
That's actually a great question and one that's a little embarrassing for me personally because historically I've never been terribly good at just picking out wonderful people for a team out of a large crowd out there. What actually usually happens for me is one way or the other a team gets assembled because they're available or their appearance skills fit or they had some previous experience on a related job. We all get together and we start looking at what the problem is to solve. And you try to analyze the problem. You give everybody a chance to talk, and they bring forward their ideas. Some ideas are sort of crummy, some ideas are great, some are ideas you never thought of. Okay, and but by sharing those ideas in an environment where everybody understands their ideas will be listened to, and if they're good, they'll be acted on, then you end up coming up with an action plan that allows you to move forward as the team right then. Okay, well, that's good. But what you also need to do over time is figure out where the members of your team maybe could use a little bit more help. Maybe in some cases, I've recommended people go get a master's degree. I mean, they're so good, but their real potential will never be achieved until they get some more formal education. In some cases, it's taking advantage of a corporate management program or something like that, where they learn the skills not only to manage properly, but also within every company. Every company has their own particular way of doing paperwork and processes and procedures that you need to be conversant in and learn the language. So almost always there's a sort of a short term and a long term team building exercise where in the short term you're trying to solve the thing you're actually being paid to do right now. And in the longer term, you're trying to figure out how each one of those team members can be more valuable to themselves and more valuable to the company over time. And that's absolutely individual. And that's pretty much between you and the teammate and sort of not in front of everybody else. Those are those quiet times when you poke your head into their office and ask how they're doing and see what they want to do in life and that kind of thing. So it's, as I say, it's sort of a two-tier approach in my view.
So definitely, it's having an internal relationship that you develop and cultivate with those around you, and not only looking for the day to day, but looking for the long term. And I
Absolutely.
really resonate with that. And it's one of those quiet moments. And as I mentioned, that I was switching over from one position in one company to another before we had this conversation. I realized that I was lacking in certain skills, project management skills, and other things that other company just didn't really have a strong background in. And definitely going back, getting certifications, getting that formal education has been a huge help for me to be able to interact with my colleagues today and understand what they're saying and the language and the vocabulary that's necessary to work together effectively as a team. So these are really great insights, John. I really appreciate the time that you've given to us on this particular presentation. And I just so look forward to interacting with you and hearing from you at the IEEE Rising Stars Conference next year. Um, and I'm looking forward to having all of you, the viewers, come and see John and other great featured speakers at the IEEE Rising Stars Conference, January 2nd to 4th, 2021. The links are below in this description. Please register and meet John and get to know him. So thank you, John, so much for your time. I hope this was helpful for everybody. Until next time, bye.